Good afternoon, Ms. Shreve. So nice to see you again. Thank you for coming in, and we'll go ahead and get started.
Sounds great.
So over the past few weeks, I've been conducting a case study on Andrew. We've looked more closely at his phonemic awareness, phonological awareness, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension.
Wow.
The purpose of this case study is just to further understand his literacy development in hopes of helping him become a stronger reader. So
Good. I really appreciate that. I have noticed that he does struggle a little bit with reading, and so I am super interested in hearing more about this case study.
All right. Well, first I conducted a reading interview where I asked Andrew about his feelings on reading, and he said he always checks out, 2 books from the library, and he loves the ones on superheroes. And he said he believes it's important to read because it helps you learn.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way you can become a good reader is through lots of practice. So he's right on track. He's always had a positive attitude towards reading, but I have been noticing a little bit of a struggle lately. He was tested at the beginning of the year, and we found that he's only reading about 12 words a minute, which is significantly low for a 4th grader. So,
what can I do to help him be a better reader?
I'm glad you asked. I will take you through each of the components of the case study, and we'll discuss strategies in which we can help Andrew in the classroom and at home.
Okay.
So the first component was phonemic awareness, which is a student's ability to hear, identify, and manipulate the individual sounds in a spoken word.
Okay.
It helps with a child's reading acquisition. It also, once they start developing an understanding of each letter and its sound, so it helps them learn to read. It also helps them when they're learning to spell. So Andrew was given the assessment called Reading Rocket to test his phonemic awareness, and it had a couple of categories. Those were rhyming, identifying initial sounds, blending words, phoneme segmentation, phoneme manipulation, and phoneme deletion.
Mm-hmm.
His strengths were definitely in the phoneme segmentation and blending words section.
Okay.
He seemed engaged and confident in his answers during this section, and he was able to hear the individual sounds in the words. So, for example, I gave him the word pig, and he could say p-e-g. But once we started adding, deleting, or substituting sounds, he didn't fully understand how to manipulate the word correctly. So we have some activities that can help Andrew in this area.
Okay.
There is one called sound boxes. So in this activity, pretty much you're just creating a sound box, which is a piece of paper that shows the beginning, middle, and end of a word. And it's a great way for students to see that words are actually made up of smaller sounds called phonemes. So when Andrew does this, he identifies where is the sound in the word,
Mm-hmm.
and then they can start to manipulate the word any way that they're needed. So,
Okay. Is there anything I can be doing with Andrew to help him at home?
of course, yep. Something we can try at home is called a picture sort. So encourage Andrew to sort the pictures that you have based on pictures that start with the same sound. So they'll be putting them according to the same sound.
Okay.
He's making connections between the picture sorts and the words, so he'll begin to see the similarities and differences in the sounds and the letters.
Okay.
So after that, next we assessed his phonics. So that's pretty much the relationship between letters and sounds. By teaching them the most common sounds and their spelling relationships, students begin to learn how to decode and sound out words. So he was given the nonsense word test, and there are categories such as short vowels, digraphs, blends, long vowels, other vowels, and multisyllabic words.
Okay.
There were about 10 words in each category, so a total of 50 words.
Okay.
He did great on the short vowel category, and also with words that are 4 letters or smaller, but we definitely want to help him reach the more difficult words that have multi-syllables.
Mm-hmm.
He was also given the elementary spelling inventory, which is essentially just a spelling test that with the scores you can help find the spelling stage. So Andrew scored in the letter name alphabetic stage, which is below his grade level, but there's tons of activities that we can do to help Andrew move towards 4th grade.
Okay.
In the classroom, one game that we'll be playing is called Whose Name is Longer. Pretty much we go around in a circle and say our name and then clap out the syllables. So this will help Andrew hear where the syllables begin and when they end, and help him understand multisyllabic words better. And then at home, you can also try rhyming games. So whenever you have a free moment, give Andrew a word and see if he can come up with a word that rhymes with it. This helps him play with words and then also focus on the speech sounds of each.
Okay.
So after phonics, we looked at his vocabulary skills. he was given the word meaning test, which is where I read him a word and he orally gave me his own definition of each word. So he scored it at about a first grade level, so I definitely want to work on his vocabulary.
Yeah.
It seemed as if he understood the concept of most words. He just had trouble articulating to me what it meant in his own words. So we want to definitely try to help him broaden his vocabulary. One activity that we like to do in the classroom is where we brainstorm different words for common words such as said or good. So we'd have the students think of more descriptive words to say the same thing in their writing. So we'll be doing that in the classroom.
Okay.
And he's always telling me about his brothers and his cousins at home and his older family members. So it's awesome to have that interaction between them because that also helps him hear different words and hear different vocabulary used.
Okay.
So that'll, eventually help him speak more freely in the classroom.
Yeah.
So after that, we studied his fluency and comprehension, and those two kind of go hand in hand. When we assess fluency, we look at a student's accuracy, speed, and prosody. So he was given the San Diego Quick Assessment, and that measures how many words a student can identify out of context. So he's still at the instructional level, and he reads words at about a first grade level. So, but he was so awesome at not asking for help at all. He actually wanted to try to sound out the words himself, and he did a great job working at the best of his ability to do that. I can definitely tell that he's working his hardest to catch up and grow as a reader.
Okay.
So with fluency, the other assessment we did was called a running record, where I gave Andrew a passage, and he read it, and while he was reading it out loud, I made little codes to see where his errors and strengths lie. The passage was called Frog Feels Sick, and he really seemed to enjoy reading it. So one thing we definitely want to work on is his speed. It took him about 5 minutes to read 120 words. So some things that we can do to help him with his speed are timed readings. We can also do paired readings. So when he's paired with a partner, he can hear and see as an example how they read other stories. So he also tells me that you enjoy reading to him at home.
Yeah.
So keep doing that, and if you need any books, feel free, to let me know, and you can borrow some from my classroom.
Okay, perfect.
But it is crucial for Andrew to be not only reading at school, but also at home.
Okay.
The last component of the case study was comprehension. So after he read the passage, Frog Feels Sick, I asked him to fill out a story map of what happened in the beginning, middle, and end of the story. And he was able to tell me orally what happened in the story, but he did have trouble writing it down on paper. So I can give you some copies of the story map, so it might benefit Andrew to fill them out, once he finishes reading a story, just so he can deepen his understanding of what he read. So just to wrap up, Andrew's a great student and such a joy to have in my classroom. He's a hard worker, but he also has a lot of work to do to get to where he needs to be. So I'll be working with him every day in class, and with all the strategies that we discussed today, I'll be doing that, and I hope that you continue on reading with him at home and helping him do all that. So thank you for coming in and meeting with me, and we'll see you later.
Of course, I appreciate the help.
Thank you.